The Ukraine war was not at all good for the European Union and its leaders. The leaders are getting ousted, and their governments are falling like a house of cards. The anger of common Europeans is also at breaking point. The case is same for the big gun of the European Union, that is Germany. Berlin is currently experiencing unrest. Given the severe resource deficit, deindustrialization is happening in full swing. All of this is happening under Olaf Scholz. Consequently, Scholz's chair has now begun to rock. There were anticipations that the lethal Greens combo would soon try to cause problems for Olaf Scholz, and guess what? The first indication is already here. Hello and welcome to TFI Global. I'm your host Vedika. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the share button and press the bell icon to get all the latest updates. If you're watching us on Facebook, do like the video and subscribe to the page. You can also download our video apps. The link is in the description section. On 21st September, the German government announced that it is officially taking over Uniper for ensuring the supply of energy to homes and businesses. Uniper has previously been the country's largest importer of Russian gas. For this, Berlin has vowed to spend 8 billion euros to acquire additional shares in Uniper, which it does not own. The nation is heading to acquire 99% of the stakes. In July, the German government took a 30% stake in Uniper and agreed to a 15 billion euros bailout package to save the company from a total shutdown. As the government announced the nationalization of Uniper, Economic Minister Robert Habeck announced this step became necessary because the situation has clearly changed. Even the officials at Uniper are euphoric over the fact that the company has got nationalized, but it looks like Olaf's own partners in government are irked by Uniper's nationalization. According to Bloomberg, Scholz coalition is at odds over Germany's gas levy. Scholz ministers are throwing each other under the bus after the Uniper's nationalization. This is for the first time that conflicts have emerged in Chancellor Olaf Scholz' ruling coalition over financing the government's effort to stave off a collapse of Germany's energy sector. Finance Minister Christian Lindner had lambasted Economy Minister Robert Habeck over plans to pay for the deal to nationalize gas giant Uniper SE. As per Lindner, there are still issues that need to be ironed out over funding for the bailout. Lindner has raised questions over the gas levy which Habeck had introduced before Uniper's nationalization. The finance minister has stressed that Habeck's former decision to impose a gas levy on German households is absolutely illegal, given the fact Germany now has a safe and secure supply option. If one remembers correctly, Robert Habeck had entitled German households to pay 500 euros more a year for gas after a levy was set to help utilities cover the cost of replacing Russian supplies. But now, as Uniper is nationalized, Habeck has no moral ground to keep the levy imposed. Lindner is cracking the whip for Habeck and urging him to chalk out a new plan of levies or no levies. But Habeck seems to be adamant against such calls. Calls by the finance minister are falling on deaf ears. The Greens have made it apparent that the levy will continue to remain imposed on German households. Well, Habeck's Greens has historically been in favor of raising taxes or taking on more debt to help finance the government's response to the crisis. But Liberals have always ruled out these options. Olaf was chosen as the coalition's leader following the implementation of the Common Minimum Programme. A contract for the ruling coalition was sealed when the SPD, Liberals, and Greens formed a coalition the previous year. However, the cracks within the coalition have started to appear. Beyond a shadow of doubt, Lindner and Habeck are fighting like cats and dogs over policy implementation, whereas Olaf has kept a complete mum over the matter. This might demonstrate that Olaf Scholz is now a puny in the coalition. In the last 9 months, Olaf Scholz and SPD have lost huge ground electorally. According to DW, around two-thirds of Germans are now dissatisfied with Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Approximately 62% of Germans have an unfavorable view of Scholz. That's a major dip in his support. The sole reason behind this is Germany's nonsensical jump in the Ukraine war, which has spurred immense troubles for Germans. However, the Ukraine war is somehow being kind to the German Greens if the Chancellor is to be elected directly. Scholz will now come only in the third place, while Hayback will come first. The Greens are rising only on the behest of SPD's decline. Over 90% of Green voters believe that the party has the best policies in the federal government, and it was visible in the regional elections too. So now, SPD is undoubtedly the second fiddle in the coalition. Furthermore, Greens have tripled their vote in the last 5 years, and now Hayback is openly undermining sitting ducks, Olaf Scholz and Lindner, like there's no tomorrow. Olaf is so unpopular that he's on the verge of stepping down as Germany's chancellor, and it's possible that the party politics will be used to replace him since SPD will be held accountable for his mistakes and failings. So, who will succeed this coalition's current chancellor, Hayback or Baerbock? Only time will tell.